Have you ever wondered the best way to present your logo to a client in a presentation? Well, today I'm going to be showing you how to create the best presentation to send to your client, meet them face to face, or to go over it in a voice call. If you don't know, logo design is very hard to explain when it's not in context, and when you don't really know what to do to get your client to really see the benefits of your design or your concept and idea, then the best way of doing that is showing them. So today I'm going to be showing you the best ways and some tips and tricks on how to exactly present your logo design to a client that may not understand your concept in a way that they can really get behind and understand. Before I dive right into what we're doing today, I want to just thank Skillshare for sponsoring this video. So the first thing to remember when it comes to presenting is that you have to show context. So that's the main thing that we're trying to get across today. Yes, we want the client to, one, like the logo, and two, roll with your idea, but the main part of it is context. A client will have no experience with logo design. A client won't have any experience probably with branding or rebranding because they're asking you to do it. We have to walk them through that process. So the first thing you want to make sure you have is obviously the logo. You also want to make key points. And the way that we create these key points is through a presentation so they can look at it. So on my screen, I've got this presentation template that I always use for my clients. I've edited it a bit for this so it makes it easier for me inputting information. But the idea is I'm going to be showing this to the client. So the first thing is I'll write the company name because I want to show them that I'm actually presenting to them, obviously. So logo design concepts. I can change the text, do whatever I need to do on this to create a good way of showing them. The second part of creating a presentation is always going to be the content. On the second screen, I have something showing the content of my presentation. I don't want to take my client by surprise. I want them to know exactly what I'm working on, why I'm working on it, and why I'm going to show them. So I want them to see the whole process of the meeting ahead. It makes you, one, look very professional, two, it makes you look like you know where you're going with this presentation, and three, it's just a good reminder for yourself. After you're done explaining the content and writing it all down, you want to explain your goals. You want to tell the client what you want to get out of this meeting and what you want to happen during it. And this is a really important part because we're trying to give direction. The client won't give you or won't expect to give you direction. You're the one that is the captain of the ship. You need to turn it where it needs to go during the presentation. It doesn't mean you have to be too hard about it, but it does mean that you have to do things such as this. One, explain my concepts. I want to explain what I've done for you and my ideas. Number two, I want to explore a good concept. So I've got many concepts. I'm going to show you a few, but I want to show you one that I really like and I think will work amazingly for you. Obviously, number three is focus on a direction. This is a huge goal for any meeting because what we're trying to do is limit areas and paths we can go down with this logo design. We want to have something a bit more limited so we know where to go. And by showing them the concepts, it's called the power of reduction. We're reducing the amount of places we can go with this design. And four, I always say align the purpose. When we align our purpose, we're aligning what the logo does, why it does what it does, and why I've given you that logo to do that. And I know this might seem obvious, but to a client, it's not. When I'm presenting ideas and concepts, they're not full logos. So I always say this at the start to remind myself at the best time, to warn them really that these aren't the real design. They don't represent the final logo design, so don't freak out. I then take them behind the scenes and I show them sketching ideas. Sketching ideas are a huge part of what I show them. I don't show them all the sketching, I show them why I sketch and I explain to them what I've been doing since they last emailed, so it looks like that I'm working. The number one problem that I think clients can have, especially with new designers, is that they probably think that they just cooked this logo up out of nothing. We need to show them the work we've done to make them really appreciate it. And because we're so good at designing things, we make it look simple, which they could believe is an easy thing to do. But we need to explain that it's not as easy as they expect. So we go ahead and start sketching on ideas, and I want to explain to them why I do this. It sounds very basic, but it helps give them context. It's a story that we're trying to give to them along the way. Now, I also show them a mind map. This mind map map here is really important because what it does, and I've made a video about this, but what it does is it allows the client to see connections of thoughts that I've made. Obviously, this mind map that I'm showing you here is for a company called Brooks Mold, and that's because I haven't done one for BMO, which is what we're working on today. I've made a video for this, so I'll link it down below in the description if you need to know why we have to have a mind map in there and why we should make them as designers. Okay, I'm going to start showing you how I would put this presentation together. Now that we've got the main things that I always keep in there are these. So I keep going ahead and bringing these ideas in. Now I'm going to write down my main challenges. So the main challenge is keep it modern. The reason why it's a main challenge for BMO is because we don't want to make it too old. Even though it's an app that is designed for instant messaging and payments, we want to keep it modern, but not too out there. And the next challenge that I want to get across to them is the color choices. I want them to know in this fake company that I'm working with that these color choices are hard to make and we need to sort of refine them a little bit. And then the third challenge is making the logo fun, so something that isn't boring, something that entices people. So I write these challenges out to show the client how I'm going to do that later on. Now that I've got the main part of all this, I need to start building my work in here. Now there are a few things that I'm going to show you. Here is the logo here. Now what I've done is I've gone ahead and mocked up this logo and I've given context, and a lot of the work that I've recently just done for this is just to give the logo context. This is a huge part of presenting a design. You never want to show a logo on a white or black background because the client won't get it. You want to show them the logo on something that makes sense. So here in Adobe XD, I've gone ahead and very quickly mocked up an app, and it's not even prototyped yet, but it's easy to do on here, a lot easier. So what I've done is I've created this and I've started to use all of this. I use this from like a stock website. Again, I'll link this down below, but I've created these images here, these 2D flat images that I can use inside of the work. So I'm going to take this design here of this register page. I'm going to bring it in to bring context, if I can grab the whole thing, to bring context to what we've been working on right here. And obviously you can edit this later, but the great thing about Keynote is that you can just copy and paste images in from other design platforms. So I'm going to write down one of the goals at the top. So in the brief, let's say they said we want a modern look to this company logo. And I know that's very ambiguous, but I've written it at the top here because I want to show them what it's about. But I'm not just going to shove BMO like this. If I shove BMO in like this, all that's going to happen is that they're not going to understand how it will look on the phone itself. Maybe we do because we've envisioned it, but they do not. So we need to make sure that they understand exactly how it's going to look. This doesn't mean you can't ever show it like this, but just keep it towards the end. We're trying to build a story. Okay, so there we go. Here's the first part of what we've got up here. We can change the styling however we like. But what we're trying to do is show them the logo on the phone where it makes sense. And we're writing our notes next to it. And this is the way that I do it most of the time. Now, what you can do in Keynote is you can copy this image here, create a new slide and create a blank page to have it in the middle, because we can animate our work on here, which makes it a ton easier. And we do this by going to this slide, which should be above. We're going to go to animate, and we're going to press magic move, and it's going to be about 50 seconds or 0.5 seconds. And you can see there the preview, it just moves in, and that gives sort of like, you know, a modern look. Little tip. So there you go, that looks very basic right there. What we can then start to do is, if we want to, we can duplicate this and just bring this up ever so slightly, or we can create a more high fidelity version so that when we do the magic move, they can see the logo in more detail. So we want to keep the flow going through the entire process. So what I'm writing here is why this color, because sometimes when I'm working with a client or someone and I want to show them a specific way of giving a vibe, I'll choose a color into their design through the process, or through the actual presentation, should I say. So what I'm going to do is create this title board here, and in the next image I'm going to create a blank slide for now, and I'm going to bring in this, which is a mock-up, and this mock-up will basically show a bit more about the color and design. So here I'm bringing it in, and I'm going to show them why the new color works well. So I'm going to use words of why colors show certain things, and these talking points here can be for you and for the client. So if you want to just know what you need to say next about something to do with the brand, you can. It's very simple. And I'm being very ambiguous with the words that I'm using here because obviously I haven't been doing this for a client and I'm doing on the fly right now. So as you can see, these colors here, we see it starting to fall into place. So what I'll do is I'll create a logo version 1 here, and it will go straight into this part here, which will show this. Now when it goes to this, we can show the other screens as well if we so desire. So what I'm going to do is in Adobe XD, I'm going to select all of these, and I'm going to go ahead into Photoshop, and basically we're trying to build up context to the idea. So we're trying to build up context throughout the whole design here, and I'm showing the work as I'm going along in the presentation. So throughout this jumble video, I've basically been trying to show you the ways in which you can persuade through a presentation. So let's recap. We've got the first part here, which is obviously just BMO. We can even write the mobile app at the end. And as we go down through this presentation here, you can start to see that we're building it up. So if we had a mind map about the company, we can talk about the mind map. We can bring the first logo in, or the first idea in here. We can just move things around the way that we want. So when they come to here, we've got the logo version 1, we bring it down, we talk about logo version 1, we go here, we go here, we go here, and you can always edit them and change them on the way there. But the main thing is to always show context with the logo design. And then towards the end of this, we want to start to show the logo in its true form. So I'm going to go ahead and bring this out here, and I'm going to just duplicate this one, bring this down, get rid of this, show the logo in its true form here. Now we do this because we've already given context through the other layers up here, or the other decks up here. And this deck is very surprisingly simple, but yet very effective. And obviously when I do work on them, some guys have seen the presentations that I've done before. I actually work on them for about a day. So it's a whole working day before I even give them to the client, to make sure that I'm giving all the information possible, not discounting anything that I've done in the design process. If you'd like to learn more about UX design, or more about creating presentations, or just presenting, Skillshare is the place to learn it. Skillshare has thousands of classes from professionals all the way from design, cooking, client management, painting, photography, anything you can name it. All these classes are given by professionals in their field, and for less than $10 a month, you get all these classes to watch, which is pretty insane. The first 1,000 people that click the link down below in the description get 2 months of Skillshare for completely free. And also in the link, I'm going to share some classes that I like to use, and the ones that I've learned a lot from design, photography, to even thumbnail creation. Thank you Skillshare for sponsoring this video. And for any of you guys who are still here, who've watched right to the end, please put the word lemon in the chat down below, or in the comments, just so I know you've been watching. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you have enjoyed it, please press the red subscribe button, turning on post notifications below to make my video editor happy. You may do this now. He will smile at you forever. Isn't that right, Jordan?
Absolutely.
Yes, there you go. Thanks for watching. See you next week. Bye.